In 2003, marine archaeologists discovered ship remains in Norway that contained impossible aerodynamic modifications. The hull design included features that could only serve one purpose: generating lift. Today, I'm revealing the shocking evidence that Vikings mastered flight technology centuries before anyone thought it was possible. Dr. Eric Johnson was conducting routine analysis of the famous Gokstad ship when his team discovered something that shouldn't exist. Hidden beneath centuries of preservation treatments were hull modifications that served no maritime purpose: curved undersurfaces, angled strakes, and hollow chambers that could only generate aerodynamic lift. Computer modeling revealed the shocking truth. These modifications would reduce sailing efficiency, but dramatically improve airflow dynamics. The ship's design incorporated principles of wing construction that wouldn't be understood by aviation until the 20th century. This wasn't just a boat, it was an aircraft disguised as a vessel. The Heimskringla saga describes Olaf Tryggvason's ship Crane as sailing above the waves like its namesake bird. For centuries, scholars interpreted this as poetic metaphor, but detailed analysis reveals technical descriptions of launch procedures, altitude control, and landing techniques. The saga specifically mentions the ship's ability to ride the wind currents and soar over enemy fleets. These aren't mythological embellishments. They're operational manuals for flight technology that medieval scribes recorded as historical fact, not legend. Modern physicists studying Viking flight capabilities believe they discovered magnetic levitation centuries before modern science. Norway's iron-rich geology provided access to naturally magnetized lodestone that could generate repulsive fields against ferrous materials. By incorporating magnetized iron strips into ship hulls and utilizing the Earth's magnetic field, Vikings could achieve partial weight reduction. Combined with aerodynamic modifications, this magnetic assistance provided enough lift to achieve sustained flight over water surfaces. The Kensington Runestone, long dismissed as a hoax, contains technical specifications for ship modifications that enable flight. Decoded runes describe wind speed requirements, launch angles, and emergency landing procedures with mathematical precision that suggest practical experience. These stone instructions weren't mystical texts. They were operational manuals carved for future generations. The technical detail level indicates Vikings had perfected flight technology through extensive experimentation and wanted to preserve this knowledge permanently in stone. The Battle of Svolder in 1000 AD featured the first recorded aerial combat in human history. King Olaf Tryggvason's flying ships attacked from above, while enemy fleets remained trapped on the water's surface, unable to retaliate against airborne vessels. Danish chroniclers described ships that flew like dragons, raining arrows down from impossible heights. This wasn't mythology, it was military strategy, using flight technology that gave Vikings an insurmountable tactical advantage over conventional naval forces. Recent geological surveys reveal that medieval Norway had access to natural helium deposits from underground gas pockets. Vikings may have discovered how to capture and utilize this lighter-than-air gas for ship buoyancy enhancement. By incorporating gas chambers into modified hulls, Vikings could achieve significant weight reduction. Combined with their aerodynamic modifications and magnetic levitation techniques, helium assistance provided the final component needed for sustained flight capability. Viking flying ships utilized sophisticated sail configurations that didn't just catch wind. They manipulated air currents to create updrafts and downdrafts. Their revolutionary rigging systems could channel wind flow to generate lift beneath the hull. This technology required understanding of fluid dynamics that wouldn't be formalized by science until centuries later. Vikings achieved through practical experimentation what modern aerospace engineers accomplish with computer simulations and wind tunnel testing. The Catholic Church recognized Viking flight technology as an existential threat to medieval social order. If common people could fly, traditional concepts of borders, taxation, and feudal control would become meaningless. A systematic suppression campaign began around 1100 AD. Church inquisitors specifically targeted Viking shipwrights and confiscated all technical manuals related to flight modifications. Within 2 generations, The knowledge was deliberately erased from human civilization to preserve existing power structures. NASA engineers studying Viking ship designs for spacecraft applications discovered flight principles that current aerospace technology doesn't utilize. The Vikings' combination of magnetic levitation, gas buoyancy, and aerodynamic manipulation represents a multimodal approach to flight. Modern aircraft rely solely on aerodynamic lift, while Vikings achieved flight through multiple simultaneous systems. This redundant approach provided more stable and efficient flight characteristics than contemporary aviation technology. In 2018, a team of aerospace engineers attempted to reconstruct a Viking flying ship using authentic materials and techniques. Their initial tests achieved brief hovering, but couldn't sustain flight due to missing technical knowledge. The reconstruction proved that Viking flight was theoretically possible with medieval technology, but the precise techniques died with their creators. Modern engineering can verify the concept but cannot replicate the execution without the lost operational knowledge. Flying above water required navigation techniques far beyond maritime skills. Vikings developed aerial landmarks, wind pattern recognition, and altitude estimation methods that allowed precise navigation without modern instruments. Their sun compass technology, originally designed for sea navigation, was adapted for three-dimensional flight navigation. This required mathematical calculations for altitude, wind drift, and magnetic declination that demonstrate advanced understanding of spatial geometry. Viking flying ships faced significant payload restrictions compared to conventional vessels. Flight capability required sacrificing cargo space for lift-generating modifications, limiting their use to reconnaissance, rapid transport, and strategic military operations. This explains why flying ships never completely replaced conventional vessels. They served specialized roles rather than general transportation. Vikings maintained both flying and sailing fleets for different operational requirements. Viking flight technology was heavily dependent on specific weather conditions. Optimal flight required particular wind speeds, atmospheric pressure, and magnetic field variations that occurred only during certain seasonal periods. This weather dependency explains why Viking raids intensified during specific months, not just for sailing conditions, but for optimal flight conditions that gave them aerial superiority during crucial military campaigns. Viking flight capability influenced their entire worldview and mythology. Gods who could fly, ships that sailed through air, and warriors who soared above enemies weren't fantasy. They were cultural memories of actual technological capabilities. The loss of flight technology fundamentally changed Viking civilization. Their decline coincided not just with Christianization, but with the deliberate destruction of their most advanced technological achievements. Flight gave Vikings their edge, and losing it ended their dominance. Vikings didn't just master the seas, they conquered the skies. Their flying ships represent the most advanced transportation technology of the medieval world, deliberately hidden and destroyed to preserve existing power structures. Sometimes the most incredible achievements in human history are the ones that were never supposed to be remembered.